Morning. So we're going to carry on with our lesson about end of the Civil War, the Reconstruction period, and we're coming towards the end of this. So today we'll look at the White Backlash. So if you remember from last time, we were looking at the 14th, 15th Amendment. So we are slowly working towards answering this question here. So to what extent do the lives of black Americans change for the better during the Reconstruction period? So it's a classic historical question. So some things got better, some things got worse, and obviously this lesson's about how things got worse. So as I said, 14th, 15th, 1875 Civil Rights Act were really good in principle, i.e. gave equal rights and the vote. However, these were undermined by various Supreme Court rulings, which kind of watered down or just kind of made the amendments unworkable in practice, which we looked at last time. And as I said, I use this analogy of the pool push. So, if you've been pushed in the water, you're not just going to have a little swim around. You're going to get out of the pool and chuck that girl in the pool. That's just human nature. So pretty much all white people in the South felt they'd been pushed by the radical Republicans, and they were certainly going to push back. And what form did that take? And also, it wasn't just the fact, they got pushed back. It was the fact that they'd come out of a pretty brutal and scarring experience in terms of, quarter of, everybody knew somebody who died in that war. It's a brutal war. The majority of people were very poor and bankrupt. A lot of their infrastructure had been destroyed. There's Atlanta. And, to cap it all off, at the end of the war, one of their biggest assets, slaves, were freed by Lincoln, and that led to a $2 billion loss. So inevitably, and also the other picture there is the Federal Army was kind of protecting black people. And inevitably this led to violence and white people reacting towards black people. And infamously, obviously, lynching was the most common way to do that, primarily because it was public. As a warning to other people, if you step out of line, this what will happen to you. So the main group, I suppose, was the Ku Klux Klan, and this started in Tennessee in 1865, so literally just at the end. And these were kind of former Confederate soldiers, led by former Confederate generals like Nathan Bedford Forrest. And it's kind of started out as a kind of like pranking kind of thing. They'd sort of wind black people up, but it became very quickly into much more serious and major terror organisation. So I attached a BBC documentary. Now, just bear in mind it just contains strong language and images of violence. But it's well worth watching the first 10 minutes, just to, one, it gives you a little bit of history, and two, it kind of opens the door into the emotion of, both sides in that battle. It goes on for an hour, so you may want to watch the end of it, but I've only really watched the first 10 minutes because, it's a really good introduction to that. And it's easy to look from the UK and say, we're better than the Americans, but this was in the Sun a couple of years ago, and they were talking about the Manchester United striker Lukaku, and they used a picture of Stormzy. I mean, surely somebody on that newspaper, the editor or the editorial team, should have noticed that isn't Lukaku. So I think quite rightly, lots of people in this country feel there's racism, as we know what's going on in the world today. So what I want you to do, page 83, 85 of the textbook, have a look through about how the Ku Klux Klan was founded. Who did they target? Obviously, the majority of people they target were African American, but it wasn't just African American, it was carpetbaggers, so people from the north coming down to help blacks, anybody in the federal government, people called scallywags. Scallywags was a name given to southerners who were helping blacks as well. Anybody in the Republican Party, and their kind of main target was like trying to stop black Americans, African Americans from voting. And obviously the impact on black Americans was horrific. It was the violence, the threat of violence, arsons, lootings, lynchings, beatings. There's a graph on page 85. It kind of shows the number of lynchings. So, quite a lot across the South. And really, but it wasn't more about that. It was more about the, the power that it had, and obviously the lack of policing. So I want you to do that. And also, I just want you to, so coming to the end of this unit, I've added 2 slides at the end. If you can just make sure you just go back in the book and you've kind of defined what these words mean, and there's 2 slides there for you to do that. And then we're going to crack on Friday with another Google Meet lesson. Okay, thank you.